Hey everybody, welcome to Sunday Slowdown at J&J Acres. And you know, Jennifer, as long as we have been doing YouTube, I still occasionally get the question what J&J Acres stands for. So why not, right out of the blue, we'll spell it out for you. Hi, I'm Jared.
And I'm Jenny.
And that's J&J Acres. Boom. Okay. All right, folks. If you've never been with us before, you should know that we are doing this live show as a part of the HomesteadNetwork.com. If you like shows that are related to gardening, self-sufficiency, homesteading, preparedness, and self-reliance, then head over to the HomesteadNetwork.com and check out the list of show times. There is a show every single day, sometimes many consecutive hours of the day, doing live programming here on YouTube for you to enjoy, so you don't have to subscribe to that cable box if you don't want to or don't have access to it or just want something better to watch. We are a small family homestead in East Central Mississippi, and we like to share with everybody things that are going around our property. Sometimes it's a little DIY project we're doing, sometimes it's some kind of an animal, sometimes it's our garden, and sometimes it's just plain silly. So stick around, and if you have any questions throughout this entire show, please leave them in all capital letters. That will get Jennifer's attention, and then she will make sure it gets my attention.
Speaking of which, we already have a question.
Okay.
Tim Beverly's asking, how are the acorns coming along?
They are doing exactly what they are expected to do, growing slowly. They're doing just fine, but that video was put up live the day I shot it, so nothing's progressed any further than what you've seen. They're doing just fine, but they're not like putting a lettuce seed in the ground or any other kind of little fruit or vegetable or radishes. They don't quickly sprout up and shed their seed coat. It takes a long time, and so nothing has really changed. I could go out there, take pictures right now, and well, no, I couldn't. It's dark, but I could have taken pictures earlier today, and you wouldn't have noticed any difference. They're just slow growing, but they all seem to be growing, and that's the positive thing. So. Alright, so that's how that works. You have a question, and you type it in all caps, and it gets over to me. If we don't answer your question right away, we will get to it at the end of the show and put all the Q&As at the end. But if your question is on what we're talking about right now, Jennifer will be sure to interrupt me and make sure your question gets on.
So if your question isn't answered right when you ask it, don't panic and don't keep sending it to me, because I got it.
Alright, so something I'd like to share with you guys today. We're kind of going to go back to our regular old format unless something about the day just changes things. So the regular old format is talk to you a bit about what was on YouTube last week and give you some insights or background information as to what was going on in those videos. Then we'll show you some things that have been going on that didn't make YouTube. Usually some pictures and videos from our deer cam, which we do have those for you today.
Yay.
And then we'll talk about what's going on next week, what our plans are for next week. So we do this format, you know, and a lot of other shows on YouTube, they pick a particular topic, and they talk for that hour about a particular topic, or a particular news event, or something like that. But when I was first asked if we wanted to be a part of the Homestead Network and was told what days we could do, and realized that Sunday evening was going to be the one that I liked part of the reason I liked it was to have this format, to have a chance to slow down and reflect, because don't we all kind of do that at the end of the week? You're thinking about, you know, for someone like me where I wake up tomorrow and go back to the office to go to work, or even if you are full-time homesteading, isn't the end of the week when you sit back and think about, okay, what did I get done this week? How is that doing? Oh, I'm so glad I got that project done. I'm so happy with how that project turned out. I'm so happy these plants are growing. I'm so happy I sold those animals. You know, and okay, now what's coming up for next week? What do I need to do, and what do I need to put in place so I can get next week project's done.
And really, I'm reading a book right now that actually says that reflecting on what you've been doing and where you want to go is exactly how you get successful.
Yeah. So, there you go. There's a background information on why in the world we call this thing Sunday Slowdown at J&J Acres and why we do that kind of a format. So, with that said, the first thing I'd like to share with you today is something that could not have ever have happened without you. And something about that, I just felt like a PBS commercial. Supported by viewers like you. If you don't get that, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go look it up. First thing I want to share with you is this picture I'm going to put up at the bottom of the screen. We just, in the last 2 hours, had a video hit 1 million views. We have about 500 videos on YouTube, and this is the first one to hit 1 million views, all on its own, not the whole channel, just that one video. The next closest video is at about 450,000 views. So it's pretty well up there. So I think most of you, if not all of you, have seen this video before. I'm not going to go into a big long diatribe about it, but it is the egg expiration video that we did, where we did the majority, time-wise, of the video was teaching people how to read the date code on eggs that you buy at a grocery store here in the United States, and showing them that you could get eggs that were 3-4 weeks or longer old at a grocery store, and we filmed it right as we did it to prove that it was there. And but the message of the video was that especially because the video was about eggs, was find a local producer. Find somebody that sells eggs. Find a farmer's market that allows egg sales, whatever it is. And if you're in the position of being able to do so, then grow your own and raise your own chickens. So that was the real message behind it. And I've got to tell you, as excited as I am to be able to say we have a video that has 1 million views, I'm more excited to see the comments that are being shared when people share this video. So on Facebook, if you've never done it before, there's a search bar up at the top, and you can search for anything you want. You can try searching for a group or a page or something like that, but you can also just search for words, like using it like it's Google, and it'll bring up anybody who has a public profile or a post that was public, and you can see what people are talking about. And so, for example, I use a little trick where I search for the words egg expiration, because that's in the title of my video, and look to see what pages have been sharing the video, so I can understand things and try to get a better understanding of social media and how this whole marketing stuff works. And in doing that, I've seen a lot of people who share the video and say, so glad I get my eggs from whoever their local producer is, and then they'll tag that person's group or page on Facebook, or looks like we're going to get chickens later this year, and then share the video or something like that. I've even seen ones like, I'm only shopping at the farmer's market from now on, or things like that. And it's encouraging to see that kind of a dialogue taking place.
Freaky Geek 2 would like to know where they would get seeds for eggs.
Where you would get seeds from eggs? Oh,
for
mercy.
eggs. She wants to grow her own eggs.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, which came first, the chicken or the seed?
Yeah, that's right. Grow your own. I know I said grow your own, and I corrected myself saying raise your own. I'm sorry. It's just a habit to say grow your own. All right, so with that said, I thought I would share this with you. As of about 45 minutes ago, are they still picking on me?
Yes, someone else said they put an egg in dirt, but it didn't grow.
I tell you, an hour-long show, you say one word wrong, and they hang you out to dry. This is why I like recording videos, so I can edit things out. No, that's not the right way to say that, Jared. Shoot that again. That's funny, though. All right, so here's what I want to share with you. This is a list of the pages that I have been able to locate on Facebook. I do not claim that it is an inclusive list, but a list of the pages that I have found on Facebook that have shared our video in the last week. So the first page that shared this, that made it go crazy, I mean, it's in the last week it's had 600,000 views, which is how it got to be our first 1 million views. And that page was a website actually called shareably.net. And from there it is just dominoed and dominoed and dominoed. And are they still picking on me? They're still picking on me. People, I promise you. Alright, I'm going to have to come back to the egg growing in a minute. But you know what's interesting about this? I'll give you a little thing about social media. Some of this stuff makes no sense whatsoever. Just weird pages out of nowhere. I mean, like Country Lifestyle, I get that. I get why Country Lifestyle would share this post. But music for deep meditation, no. No, I don't get that. I don't know why they would share a post about egg expirations, but hey, good for them. But you'll also notice on here that there are a lot of radio stations, like Shenandoah Country Q102. All of these radio stations happen to be iHeartRadio affiliates. So somebody over at iHeartRadio started disseminating to all of their radio stations, hey, maybe you'll want to share this post, it's getting a lot of traction. And so we started getting a lot of views from those places as well. But other places just don't make sense, like Amazing World Vacation, World Wonders, and Wonderful Places. I don't know why they care about egg expirations, but glad to have them. There's also been a few personalities on here and artists. So I'm not entirely familiar with all of these names and people, but I've looked up a couple and kind of just chuckled. And I'm like, why does that person care? But hey, you know, in the end, it's social media. So it's probably a matter of a view for me is also a view for them. And that's all they're really caring about is getting a view. And there's some kind of a post that's getting traction. So they're going to share it, whether or not it really relates to them or not. So I've heard now that if you plant an egg, you can grow eggplant. Is that the most recent?
And then on top of that, someone wants to know if that's where pretty Easter egg trees come from.
Now that's top level thinking.
There you go. Plant a seed for an eggplant and you get a pretty Easter egg tree.
I have seen people out there putting plastic eggs in trees, and all this time they didn't realize they were doing it wrong.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You need to put that hen in the ground to get the eggplant.
I've planted a hen in the ground. All I got were fox. Tim says DC 101 is a station in Washington, D.C. You know, the reason I mention that you say that, Tim, is because of all those iHeart stations. There is one. There's none here locally where we live, but occasionally we travel to Jackson, the state capital, and there is a country station there that we typically tune to. We can, about the exact same time our local station is giving up, we can tune into that one. And so we've gotten in the habit of knowing which one to tune into. And that one is an iHeart radio station. And when I went and looked and compared my list to all the iHeart radio station in my surrounding area, none of them shared it. So, hey, you know, whatever. They don't want to support a local guy, that's fine. So, okay. Whew. Are y'all having fun with the egg jokes still? I'm looking over Jennifer's shoulder trying to get live time chat over here, but that's funny. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about what videos we had last week and any kind of information or any other questions you guys might have about those. So, that video at one time, there was 1 hour, the peak hour, that one video had 18,000 views in that hour. Now we're down to averaging, well, last hour was 870 views, so it's kind of cooled down. So I think we hit our 1 million and we'll be happy for that, and it's probably going to go back down to normal. But
at least for a year.
At least for a year. Thank you for saying that, because it was yesterday, 1 year ago, when that video came out, and then it was a week ago from today that they started resharing it. And so it was almost like it came back around on somebody's notifications that they had a really good video last year, and so they're sharing it again. Are we just going to laugh through this whole video?
You're an expert.
I got nothing. I got nothing. I might have to demote Tim. You don't get her cracking up too much. I can't do a show. I don't know how I can have you be a mod, Tim. That's funny. Okay. All right. So what was I talking about? Oh, videos that came out this last week. Let me move over here and look at my list, because otherwise I won't remember it. All right, so during the last week, we had 3 different videos come out. I will start with the one that came out yesterday, because that is the one that should have come out a month ago. When we visited Deep South Homestead, Wanda asked us if we would be a part of their collaborative video series called Through a Kid's Eyes. And we agreed, and the intention was to come home and shoot that video and have it come out while we were on vacation over Christmas. But we never got around to shooting it. We got too busy getting the house and ourselves ready for vacation, and so it never happened. And then we got back, and it was busy by being back and getting back into routines, and then it was bad weather and everything else. And so finally, after a month delay, we come out with the kids videos for the Through a Kid's Eye collaborative videos with Deep South Homestead. And basically what that was me handing the kids videos, or a video camera, and saying, keep it short. I don't want to have a 30-minute long video. Have it just be 2 minutes for each one of you. And for some reason, Arthur picked up the torch, and he started recording everybody, including himself. And then it wasn't until really late that night, Brandon couldn't decide what he wanted to show, and he decided he would just play a song, since there's been a lot of interest. Every time Brandon plays the piano, he gets a lot of positive feedback from you guys, and so he thought he would go that route, and Tracy ended up filming that portion of it, and then Daddy did the editing, because that's not something they've really been very overly exposed to. They wouldn't have been able to do it from scratch on their own. So that's where that video came from, and it's kind of interesting to me, because I thought for sure, without a doubt, here we have homestead kids. That's kind of, to me, was the whole idea, was, what are kids interested at on the homestead? The kids, over the last couple months, have built and refined and re-refined and redone a rope swing way back in the property. We don't have all of our woods around us grew up real tight together, so there's no big oak trees with big sprawling branches to do tree swings from. But they found one tree that has a stout enough branch right over the edge of a slope that allows them to actually swing from it. And I thought for sure that was going to be the premier thing on the video, and not a one of them shot anything about it. Now, Kaylin and Leah were playing on the old play set, a poor beat up thing. Kids just hard on things. They're just hard on things.
Especially when you have 5 of them.
And Tracy wanted to play a video game for you all, which I guess is probably because she likes playing Minecraft, and she learns some of the how-to things by watching other people's Minecraft videos. And so when I tell her I need a video, that was probably the first thing that came to her mind, is, oh, well, I play Minecraft and I've watched Minecraft videos, I can do that. And then Arthur has gotten a lot of comments. I don't know if you've had a chance to read these or not, but a lot of people got a real big kick out of Arthur's little selfie interview because of him saying he sleeps in the wild, because he's got all these stuffed animals and his bed was camouflage bedding. But Arthur's a big hoot. I love how he started out his video. He says, "Well, I don't have much of anything." Well, that's great. I live in complete deprived poverty, and my parents hate me. I have almost nothing, but
which is absolutely not true.
it's just funny. All right, so that is that video. And if you're interested in all the other videos, you can go over to Deep South Homestead. I'm sure one of our wonderful moderators has a video or a link to them. And you can go to their playlist, and there is a playlist for Through a Kid's Eye collaborative videos, and you can see every other YouTube channel that has gotten in on this collaborative video thing with them. So check that out. We were just asked to post ours and let them know, and then they add it to their playlist, and it goes from there. So there you are. All right, so next thing up is growing a tree from an acorn. I like to share a picture every once in a while, usually through Instagram, and then I let that post over onto Twitter and onto Facebook of something going on the property, and it's usually something nature related, plant related. And in this case, I happened to be, Jennifer and I had both just got done cleaning up the back deck. We straightened up the back deck, got a lot of things put away that were kind of like put on the back deck to go to the shed and never quite made it there. And so we were cleaning up the back deck, and I saw the acorns that we had put there, and I thought, well, they're starting to sprout. This would be a good time for a picture, and I thought it looked really good. So I snapped a picture and I shared it like I said I would. And I started getting a ton of likes and loves and questions and things like that. And so I thought, well, if this is so interesting, maybe I should shoot a video on it. I didn't think it was that big of a thing, but apparently it is. So that video is about that. And it's interesting because we have learned from scratch, like so many of you. We didn't move to this property knowing everything about horticulture, agriculture, homesteading, and self-reliance. We learn as we go. And that being said, we've owned this property since 2009, and only this last year did we learn that the big tree right out by the front of our property is a white oak, dropping humongous acorns. Huge acorns. And so we had started to find, before then, other white oaks on the property, and were collecting their acorns. And then when we realized the one up by the road was having it, we started collecting acorns there to feed to the pigs. And in collecting those acorns, we stumbled across ones that were already sprouting. And this kind of relates to that permaculture side of things. Y'all don't hear me talk about permaculture very much. But to me, there's a lot in permaculture that is about observation, about realizing what nature is doing and then trying to mimic it in a way that you can get what you want for human sustenance or to make it happen more quickly. And in this case, we were noticing that this was a slightly damp area. It's in a gully, but it doesn't really hold any water, but the soil stays good and moist. There was a light covering of leaves, and the acorns were just sprouting right there on the surface. And so it seemed pretty simple to us that if we just took the acorns and laid them on top of some soil in some seed starters, these things we have called containers that are nice and deep for good long tap roots for a tree, that we could go ahead and replant these acorns. And the reason that is so important is that oak tree has got to come down. As you saw in the video, it is leaning toward the road. It's near the power lines.
And it's on a hill.
And it's on a hill. It's
just a little hill, too.
Yeah, but it's got to come down. And so, for forest stewardship and just to feel good about yourself, and also just to have the resource. It may take 20 years before those trees that we're trying to sprout ever produce another acorn. But somebody's got to make the effort to keep the trees living. And so, if we're going to cut down the one, why not try to help propagate from that tree some more trees? So that's what we're doing. So there's already been a couple questions, I don't know, not here in the chat, but somewhere else, about when there's going to be an update to that. Well, Tim asked earlier, how are the acorns going along? But the thing about it is they grow slow. So the pictures don't look any different today than they did earlier this week, and I don't even know how long it's going to take. I've never done it before. I'm just observing how they were growing in nature, trying to provide them the same environmental conditions, but where I want them to grow. And we'll just see where it goes from there. And if it gets, when they get to the point where they've shed the seed, the acorn shell, and they start putting out true leaves, I'll absolutely do another video and update everybody. But I have no idea if that's going to take 2 months or what it's going to take. So, all right. So the third video we did here.
Suburban would like to know what you will do with the wood from that tree. We don't even know whether or not we're going to be able to get that wood from that tree because Go ahead.
We are asking for assistance from the county because it's on the right-of-way, and from the power company because it's so close to the power lines, to bring the tree down. Now, if they will do nothing more than or if we can get them to stop, let me put it that, if we can get them to stop and say, all we want you to do is get the tree safely on the ground, then what we will do is drag that tree in sections up onto the property and cut it up and use it for firewood and cooking and things like that. But there is the possibility that we'll be told by the power company it's all or nothing, and they will come in here, cut it down, mulch it up, and haul it off, and we won't have any say in the matter. So we don't know, but we would like to retain it, and part of the projects for 2017 is to build a solid wood shed, and that's where it would all go. So.
And Tim, we protect them from the squirrels because we don't have any squirrels anywhere near our back deck, and a dog that adamantly loves chasing squirrels, and reminding them they don't belong in our backyard. So
I see squirrels back in the deer field, but I don't ever see them in the backyard. And that's only about 750 foot away, but they stay back in the woods. All right, and probably they're pretty happy because the woods, now that I've started to learn more about identifying these trees, are apparently quite full of a variety of oak trees and other nuts like American beech nut and things like that.
We got a lot of nuts on the property.
Yeah, so they're probably quite happy.
I know 7 of them in the house.
Ba-dum-bum. Back to the jokes, folks. Mercy. The third video was about us using our new dump trailer. This kind of goes back to, I was kind of worried, to be honest with you. I wanted to put this video up because I was so excited about having the dump trailer, but I was kind of worried about, oh my goodness, y'all are using a landfill and environmental impacts and us contributing to that and those kind of things. So, I thought about titling this video "The Great Purge," or the Purge of Stuff, but I didn't know how well that would get received, so I did what I did, but I think that does better encompass what the message is here. Several months ago, we went through our shed, which you've seen in videos and pictures before, the one that the chickens and the pigs are now on the side of, that the pigs are on the side of. We went through that whole thing, and we were what amounts to hoarding a bunch of stuff that we just were not using anymore.
And no one else would want it either.
Yeah, no one else would want it. There was no reusing or anything. I mean, we're talking about old magazines. We're talking about old college books.
Getting rid of extra stuff.
Yeah. Good grief. I don't know if I can go on. Oh, mercy. Okay. Oh, you're killing me. All right, so we got all that stuff out of the shed. We had, and this could delve into an argument. So Jennifer, let me just say it the way I'm going to say it, and if you want to talk about it another time, we can. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We had an agreement with our neighbor who doesn't actually live on that property, but no, I don't want another egg joke.
It's not another egg joke, I promise. You're going nuts tonight.
This does not feel like a slowdown, people. Welcome to Sunday Slapstick at J&J Acres. Oh, mercy. We had an agreement with our neighbor, who doesn't actually live on that property but does raise some cattle on it, to use a trailer that he had that just sat on the property. But we couldn't never get him to give us the trailer so we could load it up with this trash and go haul it off to a dumpster. So after many months of that, we decided to invest in a dump trailer. And we have a Expedition that's supposed to be able to tow it. But as soon as we bought the trailer, the Expedition would not run. So we had to hook it up to the back of Jennifer's minivan and pull it, which thankfully it's more than capable of doing. The trailer is rated in the specs at 1,730 pounds. And Jennifer's vehicle can tow 3,600 pounds with 2 people in the vehicle. So we were well under that, and we found out, we did not know how many pounds of trash we had put in it, but when we got to the dump, the first thing we did was try to drive, and the car started pulling the trailer without, it
didn't even hesitate, not even going up the hills.
It was in drive, but with no gas. It was starting to just pull down the driveway. And so we drove. It did fine on the roads, like Jennifer's saying. We get up there and find out it was not even 700 pounds loaded in it. So we were well under the specs for towing, and everything went really well.
Tell them about that beautiful buck we saw.
No, you tell them about it. So here we are. We're being very cautious. First time we've ever towed anything with Jennifer's van. First time we've ever had a dump trailer and whatever else. And we're never been to this landfill before, and we're driving down the road. We had actually just got up the largest hill we had to get up, which we didn't even know it was there. We didn't even know it was there, and all of a sudden we got to go on this hill that, when you drive up to it, looks like it's like that. And we get up the hill, we come around a corner, and
there's an absolutely beautiful buck. I would say it had at least 8 points on it, just standing there in the middle of the road looking at us. Unfortunately, as Jared tried to grab his cell phone to take a picture of it, that's when it decided to run off.
Yeah. It was huge. Absolutely
beautiful.
Massive deer. Massive deer. Yeah. That was really cool. And so right now, the background story of that video is we're trying to fix the Expedition. So we did our numbers on this. We could have bought a very bigger that ain't come out right.
A much
bigger trailer for not much more money. But when you start thinking about how many cubic yards of materials those trailers will hold, and how much the weight of those cubic materials would be, and the maximum towing capacity of a vehicle, you start figuring out what your limitations actually are. And so I can tow with that Expedition 3 cubic yards of rock for my driveway in that dump trailer. But if I went up to the one that was going to give me almost 6 cubic yards of material, even though that trailer wouldn't have cost me very much more, I couldn't have towed it. I couldn't have towed more than 3 cubic yards anyway. So I'd have had too big of a trailer for what we're capable of towing. So that's why we ended up buying the one that we did. And now we have this Expedition that all signs are pointing to the fuel pump has gone dead on it. It sat around in the property for a couple months without being used. First we thought maybe it was a fuel filter, that the fuel had gone bad or something got down into it or whatever. We changed the fuel filter. That didn't fix it. I'm getting no fuel coming out of the fuel rail up in the engine, and I have no clue what I'm talking about. I'm repeating what friends that are mechanics have told me over the phone. And so either the fuel pump is inoperative or is not getting power, and apparently the only way to test either is to drop the gas tank and check the fuel pump out. So it's about a $250 repair if I do everything and just buy the parts.
But we'd need to figure out how to get the back end off the ground.
Yeah. So, but anyway, a lot of those projects are now on hold because we can only tow so much weight in that with Jennifer's vehicle. So we'll just have to see how things go. But that's it for the story of the behind the scenes on the dump truck, unless you're on Patreon over on Patreon. If you're a patron over at Patreon, there is a behind the scenes little thing, and you can learn more about that over there. So that's your only plug for Patreon for the night. All right, so you have been trying your best not to get all giggly over here for me. So what other jokes have I been missing? No, yeah, look at you trying so hard not to laugh.
Well, they just keep playing off of each other and
nutsies and eggsies. And...
Yeah, exactly. And I've been telling you the ones I've been really laughing at.
Yeah. All right. So,
what honey did I use in your tea? I don't remember the name.
That is Golden Sun.
Yeah.
That's Daddy Kerb's farm.
Yes.
Daddy Kerb's farm, and it's I believe it's Golden Sun Beekeeper. So
the tea is just Sleepy Time Extra, nothing special, but
sweetened with Daddy Kerb's Farms honey.
Yep.
They I'm sure you saw that video where I got to meet where I got to meet Luke and Blake's wife and their daughter. And their gift to us was a
jar of honey.
Jar of honey along with some kaya plants that unfortunately did not survive. So we're going to have to try that again some other time. But anyway, that's pretty good.
How do you make a walnut laugh?
Crack it up. Sorry. I happen to have the comments in front of me when she asked that question. But
I know.
All right, so... I do have a video to show you from the deer field, and it's a bit of a discouraging one. Here it is. This blasted dog is ruining everything. I have one set of videos of one deer coming into the field this week. That deer spent a good 20 minutes walking around in the field, which seemed kind of odd. Unusually long time to be in the field, but it was there, and nothing else. And this dog, you can see in this video, traipses all around the stinking field, gets right up in a minute here, gets right up on the salt licks and everything. And so I think that this dog, along with some of its companions, are just going around the woods terrorizing all the deer, and that it has scared the deer out of the area. So the good news is, we think we know who owns this dog. The dog does still have a collar on. So we've taken a couple still shots, and we're going to go over to the neighbor's house and say, hey, can you help us out with this? So, yeah, Suburban it is. Now, we've had some bad weather the last couple days, so we haven't been able to go over there yet. But we're going to... take the pictures over there and say, hey, help us out. You know, you're killing me here. And see what they say. These neighbors have been very kind in the past. Our kids have gone over and played with their kids and things like that. So I'm thinking it's going to be very well received and we can talk it out. We may go over there and find out that their dog has been missing for a month and they haven't been able to catch it, and we can work with them on how to catch this dog. If you look way back on the right-hand side there, that's a dog-sized live trap. We've tried using that before to catch a coyote, and we were never successful. So
I would like to solve a slight argument right now. Here in Mississippi, we can actually just shoot a dog that comes onto our property.
Yeah.
Period. If it's on our property, it's ours to do with whatever we wish. But there's no leash laws out here either, and we're not in the mindset of just go out and shoot it either.
Well, yeah, that's really the big thing right there. Is okay. So if you want to look at it on one hand, legally, yeah, okay, we could. We could go out there and I could be sitting in my deer blind, and if I saw that dog, I could shoot it, and there would be no legal recourse for anybody to tell me I couldn't. But would we? No. No, we wouldn't.
Now, I have gone next door and shot and killed a couple of wild dogs because they were attacking the cows next door.
So that's the thing. This dog is making my life inconvenient right now.
Yeah.
But it's
causing damage.
Yeah, it's not killing animals or anything like that. I haven't even taken the time to go out and sit in the deer field to hunt. So if anything, I could sit there and complain that it's really messing with my statistics on trying to figure out which of those salt blocks the deer like better.
Yeah.
But that's about it. So we would not shoot this dog for this reason. Would we shoot a dog that came up into the yard and jumped into the pig pen, harassed the pigs?
Yes.
Without a second bet, I'd shoot it in a heart second. So, but not this dog in this case. So anyway, that's what's going on in the deer field right now. Is that. And we've got the printouts, and it's just a matter of, we went and got the printouts, and then the rain came, and then our friend brought our tractor back, and then it got dark, and it was dinner time, and so we just never had a chance to follow up on it. And we get the deer cam videos Sunday mornings. That's we always go out there this morning to find out what's on the deer cam. So Deanna asks, you can put salt for deers. Here in the state of Mississippi, we can put out salt lick for deers. It is not considered baiting. We can hunt directly over it and all that kind of good stuff throughout the entire hunting season. So yes, here in Mississippi, yes. In other jurisdictions, no. So you're going to have to figure out whether or not you can do it where you are. So.
She says we can't in Vermont.
Okay. It specifically says in our regulations that you can. So it's not even one of those like loophole things where they never mentioned it, so we just do it anyway. They specifically say, yes, you can, so we do. Yeah. If you're just now seeing that, then you probably don't know that there's a video series out there where we're doing an experiment to see which kind of salt lick our local deer seem to have a preference for. Because every year at deer season they come out with all these different mineral blocks and licks and whatever else,
and flavors,
and you can get them from $8 to $20. And so the question was, well, which one really does a better job? And so we were kind of experimenting with that and seeing what the answer is. And our deer season ends in a week, so it won't be too long after that that I come out with my humble opinion on things. So, all right. I see here, this was kind of related to what we were talking about. John Lord says, try acetone in a full tank of gas. It dissolves the shellac and goos, cleans the needles, injectors, suck up excess oil. That all sounds good if the fuel pump works. You understand?
We can't get it to start.
We're not getting any pressure into the fuel lines up at the engine. There's no pressure whatsoever. So again, I'm going to tell you what I've done, but I don't know a thing about what I'm talking about, okay? I had other people walk me through this. So you got the fuel line coming out of the tank and going to the fuel filter. Change the fuel filter, nothing changed there. You follow that line up, it comes up behind the engine, and then it goes to the fuel rails. And on the fuel rail, there is what's called a Schrader valve, or at least I've learned it's called a Schrader valve. It's basically a bike tire inflation valve. And you take the cap off, and you can push on the needle, and it's supposed to get sprayed with gas. Nothing comes out. Not with the ignition turned on, not with the car turned off, nothing. Dry as a bone. So my friend who actually works in the shop at the local Ford dealer tells me it's got to be the fuel pump. You're not getting any pressure in the fuel line, and that it's either because the fuel pump is bad or you're not getting power to the fuel pump. We have tried changing out the fuel relay with a relay we know works, and that made no change. All the fuses for the fuel pump are good, so that didn't change anything. And so we're down to, according to my guy, we're down to dropping the tank and putting some leads on to test whether or not power is getting back to the fuel pump. And if power is getting to the fuel pump, then replacing the fuel pump. So that's what I can repeat because I don't know it. That's what I can repeat. All right, so let's see, dog. That all right. So as far as next week is concerned, we have had a ton of rain. In fact, if you go and look over on J&J Acres on Facebook, which I am positive somebody has put a link up to, you can see a picture from the weather station that Freaky Geek asked about. So we're going to get back to Freaky Geek's question here. Last night? Night before.
No, it was last night.
Well, we had 2 nights of bad rain, so I can't remember which one it was.
It was last night.
Last night.
Because the night before it didn't record because you didn't have
That's
batteries
right.
in it and the power went out.
Well, I had batteries in it, but apparently they weren't good enough.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there in bed, and the storm comes through and nails us. And I'm sitting there playing with it because I'm still learning this thing. And it's got all these buttons on the console where you can get all these different reports and whatever else.
He's having fun with it.
I'm trying to. I'm still feeling. It's like when I first got the camera that you bought me to shoot these videos. Yeah. And it's just like, yay, I got it. How the heck do I use it? So anyway, I'm flipping through it, and as soon as the rain starts coming, it starts saying that the rain rate is like 6-something inches per hour. And it pops up this message and says, it's raining cats and dogs. And that was just hilarious. I mean, here we are, the power's out. Y'all know I work for 911. I start getting text messages from work saying that there was homes damaged about maybe 8-10 miles north of us. Power's out here and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, here's my rain gauge thing telling me it's raining cats and dogs. And it was just funny. Mm-hmm. Just good humor at the right time. It was excellent that it did that. Anyway, so how is it doing? It's doing great. I was curious a couple times. It would sit there and tell me it was only like 3 or 4 miles an hour outside. I'm like, this storm is coming pretty close to us. Surely it's windier than 3 or 4 miles an hour. And I'd step outside, and sure than nothing, leaves are barely blowing on the trees. The pine needles are barely moving on the trees, and it doesn't feel like a breeze, and I go with it. But it's doing a good job. It's doing a good job. Let's see.
Did you step in a poodle?
I did. I did step in a poodle. Oh, goodness. Arnie, I'm not familiar with the reset button in the trunk. There is a reset button up under the passenger side panel. On the right side panel up behind the fender there. If that's the same reset button you're talking about, just in a different location on this model, then that has already been checked as well. So we have also not ran out of gas, unless, which no, we haven't run out of gas, because when I changed the fuel filter...
At the same time, though, when we first got it, she did mention that it won't start if it's less than a quarter of a tank of gas.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to cost us $10 right now. Gas is like $2 a gallon here. We can go buy 5 gallons worth of gas and pour it in there and see what happens. I ain't got no problem doing that. But if that doesn't do anything, then that's 5 gallons worth of gas in that tank we got to deal with later.
Yeah.
So... But anyway, I don't know if I'm getting egged, but I certainly feel egged on. Mercy. All right, so any other questions? I think I've got the questions you've mentioned over here.
There haven't been any more here. Oh, here we go.
Folks, if you have any more questions about anything we've already talked about, or anything about the property or us or whatever in general, now's the time to get it in. 5-minute warning.
Grouse would like to know, how does a pig farmer keep the hogs out of the mud when it rains for days?
You don't.
You don't.
You let the pigs play in the mud.
They have a shelter where they can get out of the mud if they want to.
Yeah.
But usually when we go out there, especially with how warm the weather's been, they're not under the shelter.
Yeah. So when we know the rain's coming in, our strategy is to send Brandon out there and to tell him to totally clean the pen. We want it down to clean dirt, clean out the pen, clean everything out, make it fresh. And then it rains and the pigs play in the mud and they stomp it up and it looks horrible, and then it dries for a couple days and we send Brandon back in there and clean it out again. I mean, that's all it boils down to. But like Jennifer said, they have a big area where they can go to stay out of the rain, and it's the higher area in the whole place too. Plus it's sheltered, so no rain can run into it or fall onto it, and we keep it well stocked with fresh hay, and that's that.
Did you have a problem when you first moved to Mississippi with your accents?
No.
I have a hard time understanding those people that have a really deep Southern accent. And I get a lot of questions still about where I came from, because the only thing I've really picked up is y'all.
Older men are the hardest ones to understand around here. And for me personally, older black men are even harder to understand.
And we're surrounded by two.
But the longer you live in an area, the more you get used to hearing the way people talk, and you can, at least carry a conversation or not be rude and, keep things going kind of thing. But, nobody's ever said anything to me about not sounding like I'm from the South. You ain't from around here, easy boys. Nothing like that. So, no, ain't been a problem.
All right, who is next on the Homestead Network?
Up next on the Homestead Network is Homesteading with Dutch. And I'm sure somebody has got a link for Homesteading with Dutch, right? Right? If not, I can get one pretty quickly. Homesteading with Dutch just started up about a month ago, and we have unfortunately not quite gotten used to announcing his show. So there's been a couple times where we have forgot to mention him, but he is live. Oh, looks like Weetree beat me there.
There you go. Grouse says they've lost several pigs due to the mud, a whole litter of 4 last week. Right now, our piglets are way too big to have a mud problem. Yeah. So, if we had little bitties, we might have a little bit more of a problem, but not right now.
Yeah. That's something else we really need to do is double check when we butchered the boar and figure out when is it that other female could not possibly be pregnant.
Yeah.
We need to do that math and figure that out. The pigs, as we mentioned last week, the piglets are up for sale in a local bulletin called the Mississippi Market Bulletin.
Comes out on the
comes
1st,
out
my
the 1st
birthday.
of February. Jennifer's birthday is the 1st of February. And hopefully we'll sell off the piglets. But if not, I don't know.
Tell them about the weather last night.
It rained.
A lot. Power went out.
Yep, power went out for, about 5 hours or so?
At least.
Yep. But that wasn't as bad. The night before was worse because I just could not sleep. We were getting tons and tons of tornado warnings, so the weather radio was going off.
And for some reason, we can't figure out how to make the weather radio behave and just give us Lauderdale.
Oh, yeah, it's frustrating me. It's programmed to only right now tell me about my county, and yet last night I was getting reports for a county out in Alabama. And I have checked everything I know to check, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong or what the computer's doing wrong, but it was waking me up for stuff that wasn't anywhere near me.
Or past us. It was giving us Alabama last night.
Yeah. But last night, while the power did go out, which it flickered the night before, but last night it went out, we were able to sleep because it got past us by midnight, and so we were able to actually get some solid sleep, whereas the night before it was like every 40 minutes another tornado warning, and it was just, merciless. So, is that it? No other questions?
I don't think so.
Going once.
There's some people wishing me a happy early birthday.
Hey, we'll have another live show before her actual birthday, so don't.
We will actually, one more show.
Yep. She'll be turning 21. She'll finally be legal.
Boy.
All right, folks.
21 with 5 kids. How early did we start?
They're all twins.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure Brandon and Leo would pass off as twins.
Susan wants to know if we have a shelter. We do not, but that might be changing sometime in the future. Our home, while if you've seen the video on the channel, it was put together like a double wide. It was built like a brick home. So
Better than, really.
Yeah, so all of the walls are 2x4s, joists are 2x6s, and floorboards like 2x10s, and all that kind of good stuff. It's built like a site-built home. So we have an area of the home we can go to that's in the center and without windows and all that kind of stuff.
It could survive probably a Category 3 hurricane, which would never reach us, and a 7-point earthquake.
You say survive a category, an F3. I don't know if it came right over the top of us. I'd be so sure about that. But I mean, that's what went through Hattiesburg that did all that damage, taking down a brick university.
That's true. No, I'm not talking about tornadoes. I said hurricane.
Oh, Category 3 hurricane. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, as far as a tornado goes, it would damage the house at an E3, but I believe that we would survive.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's a middle bathroom in the center of the house, so.
Yeah. But stay tuned because things are going to be changing around here. We got some big projects coming up this year, and I just can't divulge them yet.
Well, that's interesting. Take all your young'uns' age, add them up. That's exactly how long you've been parents. That's interesting.
You sit there. It's like summing up the law experience in a law firm. Every year there's 10 people there, and each one's only been a lawyer for 5 years, but he's 50 years of experience, right?
No kidding, right?
All right, folks. Are you going to do that math really quick?
Leah's 5 in a couple days, right? So
Yep.
that counts?
That counts.
44. That's
44 years of
I've been a parent longer than I've been alive.
There you go. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.